Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today carrying on our series. And if you guys remember, what we did here on the previous episode is that we have created the context menu. So now if I go back here and I picked up some items and everything is picked up, I can now use this to delete items and drop and do all sorts of things. So today I would like to style this a little bit, and then after we can actually start to do at least the drop and the delete, or more the delete than the drop. But let's get started. So I am gonna open up here. So I'm gonna go back to the master, to the tutorial here that I'm doing. I'm just gonna call this item slot, and on the item in the inventory, if I remember correctly, there is a button that we can actually use to create the context. What I would like to do here is that we have, this window that we can kind of maybe simulate to create those colors. So what I mean is that when I press play, you see that we have this window here. I would like to make it a little bit nicer. So to do that, we're gonna go back here, right? Do I have the context menu? So what I'm gonna try to look here is that I have another tutorial that I did, which was it's called the RPG UI, which is basically the UI and the character creation. So I really recommend you guys checking that one out as well. That I added most of this stuff. So what I'm trying to find here, it's something that I can use for context menu. So for example, this one, we can use this guy here as a context menu. I think it looks quite decent. It doesn't look too bad. It does have this list here, but to be honest, it doesn't matter for me. It doesn't bother me. But let's see if we could, in theory, maybe use something. I mean, we can try to use this. Yeah, I don't see why not. Let's make the game a little bit different, right? So I'm gonna copy this, and then I'm gonna go back here to my Inkscape. By the way, you don't need to do this step because probably gonna be already there. It's just that I'm doing this because I want to show you guys how is the process, because very good tutorials sometimes they don't show the process. How do you create the items? Like this, I copy image from like a UI, and then I put it on Claude, and then ask to create an SVG, and then from the SVG I try to put it on Inkscape and then work on top of it. But as you can see, it's just an SVG, very heavy image. But anyway, so maybe we can actually do a tutorial about this, which is something very exciting to do that. But we're going to go back here to the inventory. I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a context menu, right? And then within my context menu, I'm just going to call this background, right? Now the background is fine. Everything, it's perfect. Now we need to display the buttons of the background. So I do have, maybe you can use this. Let me have a look. Is this I'm just gonna copy and paste another version. I'm gonna bring this to the front. And the reason why, guys, I'm like to use Inkscape, it's because it's free, and Illustrator is a good option as well. It's just that Illustrator, it's a little bit, it's paid, and it gets it's just hard to do that. So you're probably gonna use something like that. To be honest, this doesn't look good at the moment, so I'm just gonna leave this book here for now. I'm gonna do the classic, just black background, and easy, no too much information. So let me just double check what can we use here to do it. So, well, I guess I can use this as a button. I don't see why not. I'm just gonna plug it right here. It does have a little bit of a border, which is fine. The size is quite good as well. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna export this. Actually, I export on the wrong place. I don't want to export on the select, but I'm gonna go back to the tutorial. What is it? Tutorial downloads. I'm gonna go back to Master RPG tutorial, and then the context menu, and this is gonna be the button. All right, button. Cool. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to my Unreal Engine, and I am gonna go back to the master inventory texture. I'm gonna right click here within the widgets, and I'm gonna create here a context menu, right? I do have a button, but this is just the exit button, which is fine. So I'm gonna go back here to downloads again. Well, I do have that, but it's fine. I'll copy from the context menu, and here we're just gonna call this context button. I'm not sure if this is too big, maybe too big, but we can try to counter this. So let's see how this is gonna look. So first of all, let's focus on the style of the button. So I'm gonna copy this name. I'm gonna go back here, open up the button, and now let's try to style this a little bit better. So when the button is hover, so we're gonna add this. When the button is like that, and when it's pressed, and when it's disabled, right? It does have all the states here. Now, what I would like to see here, it doesn't look too bad actually. It looks quite nice. There's one thing that I forgot to do, which is that we need to set everything as an image. Otherwise, we will have those weird borders and things that we don't want. So image, pressed, make sure is also image, and that's it. Everything here looks good. One thing that I would like to change is that make sure everything is white, otherwise it will hide the color. For when it's pressed and hover, it's fine, but everything else should be just the plain white color, otherwise it interferes with the color. Now here we are gonna search, I mean, we're gonna use that gray color, you know, like just gray color. I'm not gonna do anything special with this button here. Now this should look way better now. Just by doing this simple thing, it should just look amazing. It looks really good. I think that this is too big, but also I think the context could be a little bit wider. So what we can do here, maybe we can change the size. No, where's the canvas? Because we're setting to size to content. Let's just have a look what it looks like here. Size to content. It doesn't look too bad, but can we make so this well, anyway, I'm gonna leave it size to content because I don't think that's too bad. I think that's fine. We just need to remove this white color here is a little bit distracting. Well, for now, what I can actually do here is that you can add an image. We could actually design something here. Unfortunately, I don't have anything here that I can pick up and use. I just have a bunch of like, you know, these things and that. Like, I don't really want to use all this stuff. So I'm just going to keep it simple. And I'm just going to make sure it's like a gray color or something like that. And then what I can do here, I mean, I do have a border actually. Let's see if we use any background. So background. Look, this one doesn't look too bad actually. I know it's a box within a box, but it looks okay. We can always change this anyway. I just want to make sure that we have something that doesn't look horrible at the moment. It looks a little bit nice. A trick as well that you can do is just to make it a little bit more darker, just a little bit, and then you go back, and then it's darker, so you can see that it's a different color, and then it doesn't look too bad. Anyway, so we have the use, drop, delete. Now, guys, we have to hook up the events. So we actually have to make sure this is actually deleting. So let's do that. So to do the delete side of it, we need to go back to our inventory. Actually, not the inventory. We need to go back to the item list. So we go the item list, and we are calling the action right here. Right, so we're calling the action when we loop the inventory. Oh no, so it's done here on the item itself. Okay, that makes sense. It makes way more sense that is actually being doing here. But anyway, so now on the graph we have the information. Oh wait, where is it handling the button? So this is in the list. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about this. We need to go to the context menu. context menu. I'm a little bit getting confused because this is where we actually are triggering and handling the action, not on the inventory itself. And at this point, we already have all the information that we need. Here is where we have to call the things, right? So now let's have a look how we can actually do the delete logic. So what we can do here is that we can do a switch case, right? Switch case on the context. And what we can actually do here is that we can call the inventory reference, and we can call the API, and in this case, or remove, how do we call it? Oh no, sorry, we need to get the inventory, because we got the inventory ref within the inventory ref. I think this is confused. I'm just gonna call this inventory widget ref, and then we have the reference of the inventory, otherwise we're gonna get lost. And then every time you press delete, what we're gonna do is that call the API remove item. Make sure you call from the client, all right? Because the client is the one that we actually want to delete. Now it's gonna ask for the slot ID, and hopefully we have it right here. So we can actually break this data, and we got the item, the slot ID. Now we can compile and save this data. Now let's see what this logic is actually doing. So I'm going to close all those other tabs. Let's open up that. So what we're doing is that we're passing the slot ID, we trigger into the server, and then, hey server, can you please actually do this on a multicast, which will replicate for both client and the server. And here we actually call the logic that removes the data. So what we're doing is that we get the slot, we get the inventory slot items, and we're basically saying, is the slot ID match with that? So, oh, we actually did the wrong logic here. But if it match, we're just gonna do a print, right? So it's gonna go back here, let's say, delete. Oh, it's not actually working. Runtime, none. So it's trying to ask widget inventory reference. Okay. So it basically doesn't have this reference. This is because the context menu, it's being used here, right? On the inventory reference right there. So what we do is that when we go back to the UI, let me just refresh nodes. This is because we rename the data. And Real Engine sometimes has these annoying things that when you rename things, you have to kind of find what they are. But anyway, so here we go, hello, which is fine. So it's coming back, it's saying it matched. So if it matched, what we would like to do here is that we want to basically get the reference of that. We want to make sure that we remove the item from that just by not passing any information. Make sure this is false because it's true because we remove the item. And then what happened is that we can go back here and we can call the API reload information. So in theory, this should already do whatever we want, and it does. Now we just need to remove that context menu. That's super actually, I mean, it's not hard to do. It's just how would be the best way of doing this? I mean, we do call here, right? We do call handle item context menu. So when you click in here, well, what I'm gonna do that is that I'm just gonna do it like this. I'm gonna get a widget and I'm gonna call API close the context menu, and I'm gonna call it right here. So every action will call that later on. But for now, that should be everything that we need to do. So get all the items. So I'm gonna go back and delete this. I'm gonna go back and delete that. I'm gonna delete all I'm just gonna keep the swords. And as you can see, look, it keeps removing the right item. And one cool thing as well is that for now, like we are done with this part of the tutorial. You don't have to follow this. I just want to show you one nice thing as well, is that, for example, when we go to the items here, item display, we go the Windows inventory type, and then you have the list. And then we have here the name. This is where we actually display the item. What I can do here is that I would like to append not the quantity, but I would like to append here the, maybe I can do another pane slot. I'm just gonna do a slot. You don't have to do this. I just want to show you guys the slot ID, right, of the item. So now if I press play, what happened is that I should get all this stuff, and I have, actually I need another append. It's gonna be called slot, and then what we do here is that we're just gonna apply here. Okay, cool. It's a little bit confusing, but I just want to show you that we have slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all that stuff. But now if I go back here and delete that, you know, stuff is out of order, but that's fine. One cool thing as well that we can test it is that, for example, we can get all this stuff. We're gonna leave the item as last, so we're gonna remove the slot 6. Now if I pick up, I should see slot 6 again, because it's doing in order, which means that our inventory is doing all the functions that I wanted to do, which is great. No bugs. So far, everything is working perfectly and no issues with the items. And that's basically conclude us the delete action. What I would like to do it as well is that I would like to do the drop. Also, I would like to be able to drag and drop the icon around, right? So I want to make sure that, because right now we can only drag the window, but it's because they don't have a behavior. But what I would like to be able to do is this, right click, press drop, and drop the item. To be honest, can we do the drop? Actually, we can set up the drop for now. What I can do here is, I'm not going to do the whole drop function because it's a little bit complex, but what I can do here, I'm going to just set up one thing here. Make sure you go to the master inventory here. Let's open up the variables. Now let's open up the st inventory, right? This is the inventory which holds everything. So what I need here is that to open up the items itself, and then in here, I would like to create the picker. And if you guys remember, we have an item here called, item picker. And in here, we can search for the base picker or BP base inventory item picker, right? So we can actually plug this one right here. Make sure, guys, we are looking, BP base inventory picker class. I want the class. I do not want the object. I want the class because I wanted to spawn this item in front of the player from scratch with all the data that he has on it. Now I'm just gonna basically, what I need to do here, I need to reload the engine. So I'm gonna use this opportunity to finish the tutorial, and then in the next one we're gonna start to work on the picker. So just make sure you create this. Make sure it is a BP base inventory item picker type, which is the class. Make sure it's a single, and we're gonna use this in the next one. So once again, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I see you in the next one.